Hey guys, what is up and welcome to my channel. It's a Hardback Life. My name is Jordan, and today we're going to be talking about my 2020 reading goals. Did I pass or did I fail on achieving them? And also my December wrap-up. Now, speaking of December, for those of you who do not know, I was involved in a readathon on the Shelf Space Discord created by Jessie May, and we had a readathon called the Reindeer Games. It was so much fun, and there was so much competition. It was cutthroat, but at the same time, like I said, it was still fun. And my team was Team Jack Skellington, by the way. We came in third place, so I'm so proud of my team. We actually never left the top 3, so that tells you how much reading we all did as a team. And the teams were all split up into like 5 or 6 people, just about. And yeah, like I said, my team never left the top 3, and we basically, in my mind, crushed it. Well, we did crush it, because, I mean, we did stay in the top 3 throughout the whole readathon, the whole month. Such a fun time. Like, obviously, like, getting to know each other in our little group chat, but also getting to know more about other people who are participating throughout the readathon. And I always say this in every video, but, like, you guys should definitely go get yourselves plugged into the Shelf Space Discord. So much fun. And I'm not kidding you, it's great. We talk about books, movies, and there's all kinds of buddy reads that happen. It's a fun time. Let's hop on over to what I'm reading currently. The book that I'm focusing the most on right now is none other than ACOWAR, which is the 3rd installment in the A Court of Thorns and Roses series by Sarah J. Maas. If you don't know what A Court of Thorns and Roses is, aka ACOTAR, it's basically a Beauty and the Beast retelling, but with fairies. And oh gosh, it's so fantastic. I'm loving every minute of it. I'm like 450 pages just about into the 3rd book. And I know Sarah J. Maas is releasing another book, but I think it's going to be like, it's labeled as book 4. So, like, I don't know how that is working out. But it's separate because it follows the life of the main character's sister. So, we'll see how that goes. I'm really excited for that book. But this is A Court of Wings and Ruin by Sarah J. Maas. Loving it. Loving it, loving it. The next book that I'm also simultaneously reading is City of Bastards. City of Bastards is the 2nd book in the Royal Bastards trilogy by Andrew Schwartz. It follows a girl named Tilla, who was once living in the Western Province, the bastard child of Lord Kent. In the 1st book, we saw her father and the other people she went on the run with, their parents do something very bad, and they witnessed it, and they had to go on the run. And just really bad things, and betrayal happened, and it was a fun time. And this book is a continuation of that. I mean, they're basically safe now, at least for now, in this book. And they found sanctuary in part of the kingdom that her father is trying to overthrow. I'm not going to say too much, but not much has happened in the book so far. Like I said, I'm only on chapter 2. So I can't really say much anyway, because I don't even know a whole lot. But this is City of Bastards, and I can't wait to finish it. The next book I want to talk about that I am currently starting is The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexander Dumas. Now, this was made into a movie back in the early 2000s. I think 2002 is when the first film came out. Not the first film, is when the film came out. And I absolutely love the film. Jim Caviezel did a great job playing Edmond Dantes, the main character. Basically, what this book is about is our main character, Edmond Dantes, is thrown into prison for a crime he did not commit. And he's thrown in there because of some scheming that his best friend and two other gentlemen did. And yeah, his best friend was jealous of him because Edmond had a good life. He had the girl, and then he had just a lot of good things going for him. I think he was going off to school. I don't remember. But he had a lot of good things going for him, and his friend, Fernand Mondego, wanted his life. And then the two other guys had other things that they wanted to gain from it as well. And when Edmond is thrown in the prison, he spends several years figuring out how to escape. And when he finally does, he goes on a quest for the treasure of some kind of treasure. I haven't seen the movie in a while, so it's kind of a blur a little bit, but yeah. He goes to find that treasure, and then with that money, he's going to slowly get revenge on the people that wronged him. And like I said, I thoroughly enjoyed the film. I've seen it many times. And I can't wait to really dive into this book. Now, it is 1,275 pages. So yeah, over 1,200 pages. Oh, and by the way, I didn't mention this, but it's a buddy read as well. So I really need to get my butt in gear and read this because I want to finish this by the end of the month so I can talk about it with my friends that are reading it as well. But man, this book is an epic adventure. I can already tell because the movie was so good. But obviously there's 1,200 pages, so there's going to be a lot more info that was not put in the movie. But I'm excited nonetheless. Alright guys, let's look into my December wrap-up. The first book that I read and completed is none other than Royal Bastards. I mentioned that I'm currently reading the second book, and I even have a book review dedicated to this first book. I read this for the readathon, loved every minute of it. Oh, and I have like I said, I have a detailed book review where I kind of go into it, so I can link that down in the description for you. Anyway, this is Royal Bastards by Andrew Schwartz. The second book I read for December is none other than the Percy Jackson series, The Lightning Thief, the first book. I have read this book before. I read the first book right after the movie came out because I didn't know, or a book series. I didn't know it was a book series until my friends told me, and so I went back and I read the book. And after I read this book, I was thoroughly disappointed in the movie. And I was just like, seriously, Chris Columbus? How can you direct and fail at this? Yeah, I read this, loved it. And then I read the second one, Sea of Monsters. Didn't enjoy that one that much. And then I read Titan's Curse, which is the third book. Love that one. That's my favorite one so far. And then I read a portion of Battle at the Labyrinth, and I DNF'd that book. But I'm hoping to finish the series once and for all because I need to finish this series. The next book I read and completed, I just want to give you a fair warning. It's a huge classic and a lot of people love it. I unfortunately did not like it that much. I thought it was okay, but I didn't love it. And that book is The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. Now, like I said, this is a classic that a lot of people love. And please don't come after me in the comments. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. And there were parts of this book that I did like. Do not get me wrong. I did enjoy some parts of this book, but this book just wasn't a fave of mine. And I'll probably have to go into depth as to why I didn't love it. But yeah, I just didn't love it. And although the audiobook, because I switched halfway into reading this book, I switched to the audiobook, and the audiobook experience was a lot more enjoyable. But still, I didn't love it. The next book I read in December was Akamath by Sarah J. Maas, A Court of Mist and Fury, which is the second book in the A Court of Thorns and Roses series. This is a Beauty and the Beast retelling, but with fairies. I can see why a lot of people love this book in the series. This is the second book, like I said. Just the character building and the development of, like, everything that happens in this book. So fantastic. I gave this book, like, 5 out of 5 stars. If I could, I'd give it a 10 out of 10 because it's fantastic. And just like the continuation of the world building and just like every character in this book. So good. I'm lost for words pretty much because yeah, I just had that fun of a time reading this book. And the last book that I finished in December, and I'm glad I finally finished it for the second time, is Breaking Dawn in the Twilight Saga. Now, I read the Twilight series back when I was 18. 18 to 19 years old. Like, I read the 4 books in the last quarter of the year. Like, well, between October to January. So that's like 1 book a month. And I can say I read it when I was a teenager, I didn't love it. I thought it was just okay. But like obviously with Midnight Sun being released, I decided to give this series another go and reread it to see where my opinions would lie the second time around. And I have to say, I didn't hate it this time, but I still didn't love it. There were a lot of stuff that was cringy and whatever. But I mean, like I said, I didn't hate it this time around. I understood things she was trying to do and other things that I didn't understand the last time I read it. But yeah, this is Breaking Dawn, and I'm glad I'm done with my second read-through of the series. Alright, you guys, that was my December wrap-up. Now on to my 2020 reading goals. Did I pass, or did I fail on achieving those goals? Now, I have a 2020 bookish goals video that I made in June. I started my booktube channel back in April of last year, so I wanted to set a few goals for myself. The first of which is read 30 books. Did I accomplish that or did I fail? Yeah, I passed. I read 37 in total. Now my goal that I changed it to was 40, but we're sticking with the 30 books because that's the original goal I set for myself. And yeah, I read 37 books. So ultimately it was a good reading year, and I think I'm going to set it at 40 this time. The second bookish goal is read and finish 10 series. In 2020, I did half that. I read 5 series in 2020. Read and finished them. And this does include book series that I reread. So, yeah, so I read and finished 10 series. I read and finished 5 series in 2020. So I did not pass that one. I'm gonna definitely apply that one, read 10 series again in 2021 goals video. Let's hope I can do better at that. The next one is read more historical fiction. Now, historical fiction is one of my favorite genres, and one of my goals was to read more of that. I did not do that very well. I read one historical fiction book, which was a bummer because I bought like quite a few over the year, and I didn't really touch any of them except one. So I can say I definitely failed at that, but and that's something I'm gonna try to do more in this. That is something I'm gonna try and do more in 2021. The next bookish goal was read more books out of the sci-fi fantasy genre, that is, out of the YA sci-fi fantasy genre. Did I do that? I think I did. I read quite a few that were not necessarily YA fantasy or YA sci-fi. Even, yeah, I read quite a few adult fantasy books this last year, which have been fun. And I'm going to continue reading those books like that. But I still obviously read YA because, well, I mean, the next reading goal was read more classics. Did I do that? I only read one classic, and that was The Hobbit. So I did not do very well on that. There's several books that I saw in like at my own store, like of Goodwill and other Goodwill stores, and just around bookstores that I should have bought because they're classics, but I chose not to. Like Wuthering Heights, that's one that I definitely want to read. And then also Great Expectations is on my shelf by Charles Dickens. That is Cassandra Clare is one of her favorite books of all time. And she's one of my favorite authors. So I'm going to give one of her favorite books a shot. And if I don't like it, I'm going to be very sad because she's one of my favorite authors. The last bookish goal that I placed for myself was read Stephen King. Now, if you watched my author dedication video for October, that was the very first episode that I did for the author dedication series that I'm doing. And Stephen King happened to be the author that I chose for that month. And what author dedication is is basically a taste test. I basically gather a bunch of books by said author that I choose to read, and I decide based off of the books I read from that author whether I'm going to continue diving into their bibliography and whether, yeah, obviously, whether I like their books or not to continue. And for Stephen King, I only read a portion of Pet Sematary, but I liked it enough to say I'm going to continue on, like, reading his books. Now, obviously, I failed this because I didn't finish the Stephen King book that I was reading, but like I said, in a way, I passed because it exposed me to him, and I definitely am grateful for that. On that note, speaking of author dedication, I chose V.E. Schwab for the month of January. This month is officially dubbed as Schwabuary, and I start Vicious on Monday. And I'm going to do a reading vlog where I hopefully will finish Vicious and Vengeful, which are a Vicious duology. I'm starting with these two books because these were her, at least Vicious was like her first major published book. So I'm really excited because I have a bunch of V.E. Schwab's books, and I'm just going to try and do my best at reading a bunch of them this month. I mean, I have like 8 of her books, so we'll see about that. Anyway, you guys, that was it for this video. Please like and subscribe. That would mean a lot to me. And also ring the bell if you want to get notified for when I post a new video. Anyway, you guys, I shall see you later. Bye.